Right, here we go. First man in the van at Matterley, actually at the British GP. And I've always said with this, I don't want to always just talk to riders, I want to talk to industry people. But before we do that, I better give the sponsors a shout out. There it is, Relax to Race arm pump. Get it on. I'm going to have that for commentary today. Look at that, you get a little rub. There you are. And it makes you all lovely and supple. So I'll be able to hold the mic later on. Anyway, enough about that. And of course, there it is, FXR.
Smells good.
Smells good too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like that smell.
It's all right. Do you want to keep hold of that?
Yeah,
Well, loosen up your arms.
I could do with that later, to be
Well,
honest.
I'll tell you what, that might loosen up your arms when you're spraying helmets. Right, in case you didn't know who this man is, this is Mr. Tom Fuller from Image Design Custom. And Tom is not just about spraying crash helmets. You've got more of a story than that as well, mate, haven't you, to be fair. So actually, before we start talking about these lovely lids, let's talk about you, motocross. How did it all start for you? How did you get into this gig?
Well, I am a motocrosser, foremost a motocrosser. So
Yeah.
I did motocross most of my life. Started off BMXing
Yeah.
while Dad was riding. So every now and again in between, I'd go and ride BMXs. And then I think it was about 11 or 12, I started riding motocross. And I didn't do much on the schoolboys thing, and I wasn't very good. And it was only really when I got
That's his words, not mine.
in the schoolboys, and then got up into the adults. Went straight into a 4-stroke 510 at 16 years
I can
old.
remember you that.
About 7 stone, dripping wet on Dad's. Dad saved me the 510, which, you know, wasn't the best bike in the world.
Man's bike.
It was a man's bike, so I learned quite quickly from there.
That toughened you up.
Yeah, so from there, you know, I rode for Husqvarna, doing the British 4-stroke
Yeah.
championships, and my best year was a 3rd.
Yeah.
So I was quite happy with
Was
that.
that you? Was your brother? You and Toby were
Yeah,
both
Toby.
racing,
Yeah, Toby raced as well, and
Yeah.
then Toby stopped racing and concentrated on photography
Yeah.
for DBR.
Then so did you though. You
I
started.
did.
So then, okay. So that was the racing. So you said you got a 3rd. You say you weren't very good.
We got 3rd in a British 4-stroke championship, so I was made up with that, to be honest.
You know what I mean? That's not to be sniffed at. Yeah. So why and when did it stop?
I was working after racing, so
Yeah.
you know, on a Monday I'd wake up and I'd go to work and I was painting crash helmets and bikes, and it just got to the point where the kids were coming up and the kids were getting faster and they weren't going to work.
Sucks getting old, doesn't it?
It sucks getting old. So, but they were. I'd kind of had my day and I'd got off relatively lightly, without injury.
Yeah.
So it got to the point. I'd had great fun. I'm still in the business. I still love the business.
Yeah.
And I called it a day. I had a few T-shirts, a few trophies, and I'm happy with that.
So how did this start? Was you always creative at school? Was it what literally led you to think I'm gonna spray a crash helmet?
I was any good at school. Not bad at a sport,
Right.
and I was good at art.
Yeah.
Not much good at anything else. So I was always arty. I was always looking at the painted helmets when I was just getting ready to leave school, and I tried painting my own crash helmet. I asked for an Arai for Christmas, and
Yeah.
Dad got me a Bareri at the time, and I wanted to make it look like the Arai.
Yeah.
And it didn't go that well. So you kind of learn, and you know, to be honest, I was always into photography as well, and I ended up doing photography.
Because obviously that's how we got to know each other fundamentally. We knew each other before that, but then the photography then led on to what was working for Moto. Was that your first proper media gig?
Yeah, I got I called Wobbs at the time.
Yeah.
And you know, I submitted some photos, and it was kind of my weekend job. I was always painting, even when we were working for Moto magazine. So it was the weekend job, which was really good. But just going back, my granddad said to me, do you want a dark room? At the time there was no digital, or do you want an airbrush?
Awesome.
So I went the airbrush route, but I was always into the photography. And it was when he bought me an airbrush, and then it went from there.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that? Remind me, because that
1990 that would have been.
Yeah.
Just getting ready to leave school. I think 1991.
And you've been in it ever since.
Yeah.
But this is great. Like, this is you. So what you was doing this for a few people, but then what was the first real? What kind of put you on the map? Was there any one person's helmet in particular?
Yeah, there was a big one on the map for me.
That kind of went. oh, okay, this guy does this, and then you got a load of exposure out, and then the work started flooding in?
So, well, while I was racing, I used to train with Dickie Dye, who was training Thorpe, and Matt Bates, and so we were going out training. So I was kind of in the circles a little bit.
Yeah.
And knowing Dave Thorpe, I got the opportunity to paint the 1994 Motocross the Nations helmets. So the Americans
talk about being iconic. What a great first gig.
The long streak of the dominance of America, and then, you know, snotty little Tom paints his helmets. I don't know, I think I was 18, 19. And then I remember racing that day at Rusper in the championship, 4-stroke championship, and I came back and I'd heard that we'd won and we'd beaten the Americans, Malin, Nickel, and Herring, and I'd painted the helmets. This was a big.
Oh, it's huge.
It's a massive one for me.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. I mean,
that
it
was
brings
it.
a smile to my face.
Yeah,
now
absolutely. So that was really it then. So then you were up and running, and you've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, doing it
under different guises, whatever. How long have you been running as Image Design Custom?
So Image Design Custom, we've been going 13 years now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 13, and it seems like 3.
I say, oh my God, because it only seems like 5 years ago that you started that.
Yeah, a long time ago, 13 years. But been painting ever since I left school.
And I'll tell you what, because it's not just you now, you got the staff, obviously, you know, you built it up. There's so basically explain that. How many have you got working for you, and and what's the process with that?
There's best part about 13 of us now.
Yeah.
You know, spitting out crash helmets, and it's not just the crash helmets that is that's the main focus. So it's half helmets in our business and half motorcycles. So our core business is motorcycles and crash helmets. So that's only the half
by that
of it.
you mean like literally like custom, like Harleys and cafe racers and stuff like that?
Yeah, the cafe racer scene is massive at the moment. We're approved Harley Davidson painters. We do work for Ducati, Triumph, BMW.
Yeah.
So this is almost labour of love for me because I'm a dirt bike boy.
This is your thing.
But the other side of it is a big part as well, doing the motorcycles. It's very enjoyable as well.
And this, obviously, we're at Matterley at round 1, so this time of year, for the crash helmet things, it must be, that's it. It all condenses, really. I guess you have ones going throughout the year, but you've got this mad period, like we all have, if you're involved in the industry in the off-season, get it done. Because you've got some big hitters that you do crash helmets for.
Yeah.
So just reel off some of the names you have to do crash helmets for.
Okay, so the last 2 months have been pretty busy up to the first round. Now, in all honesty, the first round being in the UK is quite beneficial to us because it gives us a little bit more time. I bought a van load of helmets down to us. You know, if it's overseas, then the teams go out earlier. The helmets need to be in the trucks, so we lose a week or two. So, in actual fact, even though it's the season started quite early, it gave us a little bit of time. So, God, we've just done some helmets for Clement Dezelle and Fevre and Benistan and Siwa and Tonus, and it's really exciting for us to we actually do their design.
Was it last year you had to do one for Savachi for the Monster Cup?
It was,
and you had to get it to it. So you went, I know I'm going to hand deliver it. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's how it went down.
So we got the call saying that we could possibly do Joe Savachi's helmets.
Yeah.
And I was, amazing. I'd love to do that. It's always a dream to have some of your paintwork at A1. It was for A1, not the Monster Cup.
Right, A1.
And I said, well, no way, this isn't going to happen because the American painters do the American paint and we do the European paint. As it turned out, a few days before Christmas, we got the call, you're in. Image Design are painting Savachi's helmets.
That's cool.
Bosh, we're in.
Yeah.
So that's a tick. Now we have to get that 2 helmets painted over Christmas and to A1. Well, how are we going to get them there? We don't need much of an excuse to go to A1, do we? So we had to
perks of the job.
hand deliver them to A1.
Yeah.
Amazing experience.
Yeah,
handing them over to Joey.
Yeah.
Johnny O'Mara, asking him to take the camera and get a photo of myself and Joey. You know, that dude should have been in the shot, not me. You know, but amazing. So all those stories and experiences that I go through and the team goes through with painting helmets is all part of the business, but it's amazing.
So the process with this, then, let's just have on average, I know some ones are longer than other. How long does it take start to finish to do something? I mean, look at the gleam on that. I mean, what's the procedure? How do you? Is it graphics? Because I guess it is more printed graphics now, is it, than back in the day when you had to hand do stuff? But it's still, you do the entire concept, right?
We do the whole concept. We do the design work. It has to be sent off for approval. And
when you say approval from the likes like a Monster, or because you do Monster and Red Bull stuff, don't you?
That's correct. Yeah. So
they have to sign everything off.
We have to sign everything off. So
which is a long-winded thing in its own right, I should imagine.
It can be a few days. It can be a few weeks. Let's get that up there. Look.
Yeah. Don't want to damage it. I come in and put a chip in it or break the peak.
So the graphics side of things, some of the companies want to use graphics to keep the consistency in their logos, and that's why we use graphics. It's quite nice because we're putting decals on, but the mastery is to make it not look like a decal so much. So yeah, it's you know, there's gains in doing it, and then there's not gains in doing it. So
like I said, from start to finish, you'll get that as what, a plain black or white helmet?
That'd be a plain carbon helmet sometimes with these guys, and it might just be a plain black helmet. And then we have to strip everything down, mask the rubbers off, take all the tape all the vents up. There's a lot of work involved in one of these.
Like prep more than anything.
Loads of work in the prep side of things. This is, you know, nearly up to 2 hours worth of prep on a particular helmet like this. Sometimes we get a shell just from the manufacturer, which is dreamy because you just get the shell. It comes
so you just do your thing and then they do it,
and then you're off. But this can be up to, you know, an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of prep time, and then the other side of the paintwork, an hour and a half to 2 hours getting it back together. So but that's the bit that people don't always see. So when you're charging the customers or the punter, it's those bits that they don't really see. But it's, you know, everyone has to understand, all the painters have to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's some effort, isn't it? But you know, I've been to your place, and it's just a constant, it's just flat out in it 24/7, like I said, with bikes coming in and whatever. So you've got to be like, when you started, did you know, like, it's a dream job, but I guess when you get a measure of success, you never fully appreciate until it starts to happen the success coming your way. You know, it's all that hard work is now, because you guys are flat out just spraying.
We're really busy. Listen, the team are amazing. My guys and girls that do the paintwork, it's those guys that are smashing it out every day. And you know, I'm running the business, and every now and again I get my hands dirty, but which I still love to do.
Because you love to do that,
I still love it, but it's a big team effort. You know, my business partner Steve as well. He's been there since day one with me. We've got a new business partner as well now, Ian, and we're looking to move into new premises, which is a big thing for us. So our production's and our capacity is going to go up as well. So for us, 2020 is going to be a big year for us. So it's going to make things a little bit easier for next year. However, we're going to increase production on the bikes and the helmet side of things in a let's say a bit more of a state of the art production facility. So it's going to be really good.
That's cool. I bet when you started riding, I bet you kind of like, I suppose you could say like a kind of European equivalent of, I suppose, Troy Lee growing up, because obviously he was really the pioneer of it all, and here you are like doing a similar thing in Europe. It's like, you never imagined that when you started riding a motorbike.
I didn't. You know, I wrote a handwritten letter to Troy when I was 17 I think I was. Hi Troy, I'm coming over to America. My friend Anthony Dean was racing the Jet Ski World Championships at the time, and we were going over there, and it was in California. Hi Troy, I'm Tom, I'm the best painter in the UK, I'm going to be over in America, can I come and see you? And he wrote me a letter back, which I still have to this day.
Have you written? That's proper story.
Handwritten, stamped, and I showed it to him when I went over there 2 or 3 years ago now. Do you remember this? He went, wow, now that's a long time ago. And
that's cool. That's really a cool story. So
you know, I think a lot of the painters, myself and Jason at JLF, who's still going, does amazing paint jobs on a lot of the car helmets. We were always looking to the Troy Lee side of things. He was doing the iconic riders, the Baileys, the Johnsons, the O'Maras. So you know, there's no doubt about it. We were always looking for those guys, and there was myself, Jason, AP Design in America. That's AP. Adrian Rope, AR Dynamics, and Miles Carter.
Bless him, Miles,
who's not around anymore. But it was us guys that, you know, were back in my day. We were trying to be the Troy Leash.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. So.
We've done a good job, mate. Well, look, keep up the good work. If you want a crash helmet done, get these guys to do it. You might, you know, got to get in there early though, because as you heard, they're super busy. But Tom, always a pleasure. You enjoy the rest of Matterley.
Absolutely.
Most of the hard work's done now. You got most of the crash helmets done. All of you've just literally delivered one to Fevra, haven't you?
Yeah, we just delivered Fevra's this morning, and Dazol's as well. So they're all ticked. They've all been delivered. So the sun's coming out.
So now you can enjoy the weekend.
We can enjoy the weekend.
And hope you see your riders foot and go, oh, don't crash because another one I've got to spray then.
Do crash. At least we get
Actually,
some
more work. Yeah, exactly.
No, don't want anyone to crash. So
right.
safe
Well, look,
weekend. Cheers,
enjoy the
Jeff.
weekend. Nice
Absolutely.
one. There you go. That's Tom Fuller. Right, I'll be back later on for another Man in the Van. I've got to go now because I've actually got to be on the mic and we're about to start with the EMX 125. Right, let's get at it. See you
Cheers.
later.